So let's shift to burnout, because that's why we came today. We all know that quality all too well. And if you think about it as chronic depletion of not only energy, but your motivation to get things done, your joy for being alive, the interesting thing as we study that is that burnout is not like the German measles. It's not something you get once and now you're immune. But it comes, unfortunately, again and again. It can come at the end of the day. That's just eating your lunch, or it could be at the end of a project, or midway in the project, or it can, you have a new child and now it's 3 months later and you've not gotten much sleep and you're grumpy and you're wondering, how did this happen to me? And the thing you were so excited about now seems like a curse, but now you're guilty because you're thinking, oh, I tried so hard and now I'm not really appreciating what I've got. So it's that kind of push-pull in your life. So help me think about that. And let me just invite all of you who are listening with us today to begin to gather, how do you know when you or someone else are in burnout? What are the telltale symptoms? And let me ask you to throw some out.
I lose my sense of humor.
Yeah, that goes first. And if somebody else is joking around, we get grumpy about it. Very judgmental. Yeah, what else?
I get angry.
Get angry easily. Yeah.
Hard to listen.
Hard to listen. Yeah, your mind is racing. Hard to concentrate. Yeah, we lose our capacity to concentrate. Let's look at the lists. And what you'll find is they're kind of levels, and you just begin to fall deeper and deeper into the mire. And the first list has to do with the lack of symptoms. Lack of joy, lack of energy, lack of motivation, lack of dreams for life. Is this sounding familiar? Suddenly you've lost your creativity. I'll tell you a personal story. Maybe this is only me. I don't think so. Came home one evening. It was obvious to Larry, my beloved husband, that I'd had a bad day. So he says cheerfully, shall we eat in tonight, or would you prefer to go out for dinner? And I say, I don't care, whatever you want. He says, well, let's go out. Then we won't have to clean the kitchen. Kind of be a change of scenery. Trying to be real cheerful. I'm trying to be real grumpy. And he says, we could go somewhere close in the neighborhood, or what about West Village? I've heard there's some great restaurants there. Maybe that'd be, I don't care, whatever you want. He keeps trying. Feel like Chinese or Italian or maybe some Mexican food. What do you, I don't care, whatever you want. You know the game? The game is not only, I don't have the energy to make a decision, but more importantly, don't ask me to decide, because I want to be able to blame you when something goes wrong. Isn't that the game? It's about the fun of being critical, grumpy, and judgmental. And the irony is it's not fun at all, but it gives us a subtle kind of a joy that we hang on to as we sink ever deeper. At the next level, it's interesting, when we marry or are in a permanent relationship, we seem to marry an opposite. And there are 4 areas that get us in trouble. The first has to do with food. Some people, when they go into burnout, they lose their interest in food. I wish. I'm over here. I really want to eat constantly, but not anything healthy. I just kind of have the munchies. And I want to graze on chips and dip and coffee and all the things that rob your energy. On the second one, sleep. Some people lose their capacity to sleep, and they can't sleep very long, and they wake up and they're anxious. And now other people, I call it hibernation, oversleep and wake up tired. That's me. I can sleep 12 hours and wake up and feel like I need a nap, or I just feel kind of loggy, like I'm stuck in a cloud or something. The third area has to do with intimacy. Now, this is a little delicate, but maybe I'm old enough to be your mother and I can talk about this. Some people are so anxious and tense, it's kind of like, not tonight. And it's not that I don't love my mate, but I'm just anxious and not in the mood. Others, well, it's exaggerated. They're always in the mood. And so you can see that in a marriage, if one's never hungry, the other one's always hungry. One can't sleep, the other can't wake up. And on intimacy, you're on either ends. I mean, is this marriage in trouble or what? And it's kind of interesting because this person begins to feel that this person may be having an affair because they're never available. And this person is wishing this person would. You get the picture. But I really wonder, we're laughing, if that's not the stuff of divorce. And when you think about it, once we're in a marriage or a relationship, the primary time we have together is likely when we're both in some level of burnout. And so we're not really available to solve the problems that come up or to really create a fun relationship. So hang on to that, and we'll take it a level deeper. Next, let's look at the addictive behaviors, because in burnout you lose control of your discipline. So coffee, sugar, fat, all of the foods that they advertise and we long for are addictive. They're empty calories. The more you eat, they don't satisfy you, but they do certainly add pounds. I know a lot about that. And then there's the behavioral addictions. We begin to be controlling. Workaholism, a little work is great, but then we lose control and we overwork. Our perfectionism takes over, and we begin to be singular. When you're in burnout, you'll lose your capacity to team with others, and you'll feel like I don't have time to delegate. I can do it faster if I just do it myself. And again, that will put you even deeper. So the advanced levels are called victim mentality. And you begin to feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I'm grumpy, I'm whiny. You ask me a question, why do you have to ask me so many questions? I've lost my sense of caring. I'm big at complaining. I take a break to get some energy, and I spend the time whining and complaining about others, and that sucks my energy down and yours too. The biggest one is denial, another story. If I'm not blushing, I should be. It was a Sunday night, and I had a red-eye flight out the next morning for a 4-day trip, and my beloved Larry was in the kitchen. We were fixing dinner together, and he looked at me and said, "Boy, you look really tired." And I felt, boy, you're really being critical. I felt not supported, but attacked by that, and that wasn't his intention, and that's part of burnout, is everything feels like the world is picking on you. And he said, how long are you going to be gone this time? 4 days. You know, I was like, here it comes. Don't get on my back about this, Larry. And he was just inquiring. He said, Ann, you've been traveling a lot. I've just noticed a lot of travel. It's like, gee whiz, you know, we got a rocket scientist over here, very critical. I'm poised for whatever's coming next. And he said, isn't there anybody else that could go on some of these trips to give you kind of a break? And I'd say, work. You think I like all this work? I wouldn't be working so hard if someone besides me around here was blah, blah, blah. I was just all over him. And it didn't even make sense. I mean, I wasn't hearing his message. I was hearing criticism. Does that sound familiar? And fortunately for me, that could have been a major battle, but Larry just walked over and gave me a hug and said, whatever happens, I love you. And that's something to remember in burnout, when your mate begins to give off those signals of being irrational, cranky, unreconcilable. Have you ever tried to cheer up someone who is just not going to cheer? And that's burnout. And again, have any of you certified in life-saving water safety? You'll know, if you have, the first thing you learn is the person you're trying to save will try to drown you. Same with burnout. You need to approach it in a very different way. And the denial is heavy because you'll be the last person to know you're in burnout, not the first person. So I'd like to invite you to go back through those symptoms and flag the ones that are most familiar. If you have a list of your personal burnout symptoms, the secret is this. You can learn to catch it earlier, and it's easier to turn around the earlier you catch it. You can get a partner who can gently give you some signals, some early warning signals. But you definitely can learn to spend less and less of your time in burnout. I feel certain in this time of chronic fatigue syndrome, have you heard that diagnosed, that many of us have been living in some level of burnout for so long it feels natural. we don't even know we've lost our energy. And sometimes when you get around people who have that high energy and you're in that chronic burnout, you get very critical of them. How can they feel so good when I feel so deprived and bad? There's one other group I wish we had studied, and it came from an audience years ago, and that was lovers, in terms of people that have abundant energy. And if you think about it, isn't it true you can be middle-aged, I was mid-40s, chronically burned out, fell in love with my dentist, McGee-Cooper, and within 24 hours, the smile and the energy was back. And I suddenly had the motivation to unpack boxes from my last move that was 18 months ago, and I was putting up flowers and candles and making picnic lunches and getting up early for walks and staying up late for whatever. And but I had the most fabulous energy for my work. And the point is, however you are in one part of your life, you carry that into the other. So if you think about it, courtship is the second time after childhood that we give ourselves permission to be childlike. And that's part of falling in love. Isn't it true that when we're courting, we write silly little notes, love notes, and even if he's a big man, we give him a teddy bear and he loves it. And we fly kites and go to the fair and ride the Ferris wheel, and we fall in love with that playfulness in the other. And then we get married and we get serious and wonder where the magic went. And all too often, we're in burnout. I remember when Dwayne and I were first doing this research, at the end of the day, my family would come home, 2 teenagers, 13 and 15, Larry from the dental office and me from my work. We were all in some level of burnout, so no wonder we had pretty grumpy evenings together. What we hadn't learned was how to turn the corner.